Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Docu-Sweeties.
We're two longtime friends to discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, which can be salty, can be bitter, can be spicy, can be acidic, can be so many things, but at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. Hi.
Hello.
What a show. What a ending. What a closure. What a full circle moment for us as we finally get to be at the end of 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After. This is season 7. This was the tell-all part 4. It really was no limits. We're done. Thank God. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was episode 21 if you guys were counting. If you're counting.
No.
It's 21 episodes, which usually indicates that it was 21 weeks. And if we divide 20 into 4, that's 5. So
5
that's
months?
that's 5 months. That's 5 months in 1 week.
Wait, we've been talking about the show for 5 months? Wait.
That feels like the math, no?
Feels correct. I mean, listen, no, yeah, we were both theater majors, so we're not gonna rely on our math skills, but it seems pretty chill that
let's just do that math. A month is 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
So if we've got 20,
okay,
let's just not even 21. Let's just say 20 weeks.
Yeah.
And we divide that into 4, which we know that 4 equals 1 month. The answer is 5.
It is 5. Now I get that. Now I see how that works. Wow.
So, I mean, and maybe we got 1 week off, maybe.
Did we get Chris? Yeah, we did. Didn't we get like New Year's Eve off or something?
We got one of them off, right? So that means that it was exactly 5 months. That's almost half a year.
That is, yeah. I mean, yeah. Wow, guys, can you believe it? We've been on such a journey. We've almost made a baby, but not really, but kind of, you know what I'm saying? I'm not quite sure. But this is how it starts. So we knew that Michael had been obviously, on the ire side of the entire cast as it's revealed that he had cheated on Angela, and therefore Angela for some reason now had been justified in the years-long abuse we've seen of Michael because in fact A, he cheated on her, and B, then it becomes this like other mild story of that she covers for him, that in fact she is such a loyal girl that there has been things we don't know about Michael that she has withheld and then taken like abuse from the listeners. Okay, so Michael having been confronted about the social media thing, and it's revealed that it's very obvious that him and Usman would be in the exact same hotel because that's where production would be, and why would they not centralize production? Because obviously American people don't always just be in Nigeria and they're not made of money. So makes sense that both men would be in the same hotel because they have to film this thing. They can't set up 2 studios. So then Michael, knowing where Usman is, walks over to Usman's little study area or whatever studio, and he knocks, and then Usman opens it, and he's just like, fuck off. And it was such a funny thing to me because it's like, you walked over to him to knock and say fuck off. Like, it isn't like, fuck you, I'm gonna get at you. Fuck off means like, don't deal with me anymore. So it's like, but like, you literally brought yourself to this person's space to be like, fuck off. It's just LOL. But also, thank you, producers. Wa?
Yeah, so he's like, my wife doesn't want me on social media because of what I have done. And I ask you to respect her. And then Usman's like, listen, first of all, your wife knows that I am smarter than you. So, and I can influence you. So you have lied to me. And so I defended you. And now that I see that you are not honest with your wife, that you are cheating on her, and you are like a child and I cannot be trusted, control yourself on social media. So all I ask for you, so then Michael's like, please respect my wife, respect her. If she says anything to you, do not answer. Respect me and respect her, and don't do anything to my wife. And Usman goes, listen, if someone says something to me, I will die to defend myself. Okay? That's just all that it is. And so Michael goes, okay, just respect her and respect me. and then they walk away. And it's like they come to some kind of fucking consensus, girl. We don't know.
No,
So
yeah,
that's their
yes.
little moment in Nigeria. That's that little moment in Nigeria that we get from them. That is the opener of this scene. And then at the end, they're like, God bless you. Okay, same for you, sir. God bless you.
I love it. You know, like I really want 100% a scene of them in Nigeria. I want to see them at a club together. I want to see, like, I want to see them interacting more than this. I want to see like their friends around each other. I want to see Michael's friends, all of those, you know, gobbledygools and or whatever. I forgot what Angela calls
Google
them.
boys,
Boogie
goofy face,
goofballs.
goofballs.
Yeah. I don't know what I called them, but gobbledygools. I don't know, but
Yeah, you did.
goofballs. And then I want all of Usman's like record friends. Like I want to see them like in a bar setting and how they would look at each other and like would they be friends or like, you know, if
No.
they I don't think so either. I don't want to
Yeah.
see it is what I'm saying. So then we get right back to the studio, honey, and this is an LOL thing. So Kimberly and Yara are walking together, and Kimberly, God bless, you know, she's like living a life at 52, and Yara is like 20 nothing, honey, just like Ukrainian. And I mean, Kimberly is walking, honey, and she's like, we're getting back to this studio, honey. It's like a soul train in here because they're like walking up. And she's like, Yara, you know, like Soul Train. And Yara's like, no, not at all. Like I'm not American and I'm young. And like, nope, this reference is lost on me. You can absolutely find Jenny or find Angela for that reference. It's going to be whoosh, not here, honey. It's not here. Where's Bilal? There's literally other people you could have said this to that would have like, yep. And it's not me, you know, not me.
But the way she's so like, no, I don't know, stupid, shut up. Like that's just kind of the energy. It was weird. So then we go into where we talk about Yara having a breast implant and how Jovi was against it in the beginning because he felt like she was being influenced. But now that he sees them, he's no longer worried about her boobs. And Angela has to jump in because Yara went to her doctor, the African gentleman that she likes to flirt with, and got her boobs done. And he's like, Angela's like, oh, you can't bite the nipples. And I'm like, Angela, you haven't seen your husband. You've seen your husband one time since you got your breast augmented. How do you know about biting nipples? What is that in reference to? You've been healed for a year since before you saw your husband, or 6 months or whatever.
Maybe she can't bite her own, you know, maybe she's like, you know, like she's been thinking, you know, it's like, it still hurts. I thought about that. Like, did that doctor just DM every one of the cast members and was like, hey, do you want a nose job? Hey, you could use a boob job. Hey, do you want to fit, you know, like, is it just a thing where it's like, Yara definitely on her Instagram has a Instagram post with the doctor, obviously tagged him, you know, everything is on some sort of ad situation, you know, whatever, she probably didn't pay for that or whatever, God bless. It's just so interesting, yeah, that doctors would be like, oh, this is this people on a reality show, I'll just reach out and give them free plastic surgery. It's so funny.
Yeah, and Angela's like, yeah, I'm the queen. I don't know how you didn't reach out to me and ask me. And Yara's like, because you probably hit me and called me names. And we're like,
yeah, and then Yara was like, yes, it's true. I went to the same doctor as that woman over there. Yara is very specific in choosing to say, right after Angela has called herself queen, that Yara's like, that woman over there.
yeah.
Yara does not give one F. I love it.
You know what I found to be so interesting is that whoever is editing this show, like, really is zoning in on their middle-aged audience, because Angela and Ed keep getting all of the asides. Like, their voices are being heard over all of the other cast members. Like, it is especially clear when everyone's trying to tell Ed to shut up. Like, it's clear that the cast does not respect Ed or Angela to a certain extent, and way more Ed. Yet the way that the producers have edited this, it is making it seem like the rest of the cast members are just docile and letting Ed talk. And I'm like, no, they're talking. Producers have just lowered their mic and have allowed Ed's mic to be louder. Completely. Like, this show is for the Kimbalis of the 90 Day Fiancé world. Us younger folk, us bebes who watch this show are like, we don't want to hear Ed. In fact, take off his mic. In fact, why aren't you listening to the rest of the cast when we say we don't want to, like, talk or deal with Ed? But they're like, you know who's our bread and butter? The late 40s, early 50s. And they want more Ed and they want more Angela. So we're going to give it to them. Anyways, like that, I don't know if you noticed that in the editing, it just got overwhelming to me. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the last maybe 15 minutes of this, I was puttering around doing stuff.
Same.
So I really don't know what happened, because they insist on talking about Ed and Angela to a degree that is unnecessary.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So Jovi, we didn't have a whole thing where Jovi went to Africa apparently, and I'm like, oh, Jovi went to Safari? What does he do for work? I would like to go to Safari in Africa, in South Africa. But he left Yara 6 weeks or 10 days after her surgery. And everyone jumps on him as though he is the most evilest husband to ever exist on the planet. Everyone is just calling into question his dealings with Mila, and whether or not he's a pay attention father. I mean, Andre comes after him about, oh, you left your wife with your, and listen, we all know that Andre is a great dad. Not everybody could be an Andre. Ed is not an Andre. Like, Bilal's not going to be an Andre. Like, go ahead.
But Andre is not a provider yet. Unless he is, I don't know. But Jovi's making money. They call Jovi a provider.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
I just want to give Jovi something.
Okay. I mean, like, yeah, he's a provider, but he also is very, I think, whatever his culture is or whatever his background is when it comes to men helping women raise kids, it's not one where the provider is expected to help with the family.
You're right.
And I guess I'm just a little like, I know women who, when they've had their kids, their husband has been the sole provider. Like they took 2 years off to raise their children. Even within that relationship, because the man gets time away to not have to manage the children, like when he gets home from work, his duty is to immediately take over the rearing of the kids while the lady goes to work. I mean, while the lady goes, maybe works out, has some her time because she's been with them all day. He bathes them. They both put them to bed. And so for me, I guess I just like the idea that even though you're a provider, that doesn't mean that you don't relieve your wife sometimes of the, because children, they're a lot.
No, they're
so yeah, I think I like that they gave him that bit of it. I think you're right. Then we get to the point where someone keeps saying, I think it's Yara, she keeps using the word impregnated, and I'm like, no, just pregnant. Stop saying impregnated. Sounds like a social experiment. Sounds like a doctor came and did something to you.
No. I also love it when she messes up the word clone for clown. When she was like, Ed is such a clone. And I was like, and then Jovi's like, clown. She's like, clown. So, listen, Yara loves her new boobies, and also two things happen in this Yara. So two things happen that are major in this Yara Jovi segment. One is this conversation with Miss Gwen. And there's two parts of that. The Miss Gwen, whether she feels like she was put on blast for not being a good grandmother, and she tries to defend herself, that she lives 2 hours away and she loves being with Mila, but she's not a nanny, and B, she can't be a step-in mother for Yara because, she's like a 52-year-old woman who has her whole life. So that's one thing. And then also that they had purchased property, and that property was to be close to Jovi and Yara, and now Jovi and Yara want to move, but we already knew that Yara hated Louisiana, so like that could be expected. The other part of this segment is that we bring on the less fun Yara friend, one of the ones that like told her that she needed to leave Jovi because she's better than him. Now that friend like is neither here nor there, and I forgot her name. But the other friend that had that like dress was the one that said all the shit, and we can't talk to her, and the producers won't say why. It's because I feel like she's still in prison. She got wrapped up in a whole ass. Did you know that? Yes. That girl.
Okay, wait a minute. First of all, let me name them. The one who we saw, her name is Symphony. The one who we didn't see, her name is Adele. Go forth.
Okay, so Adele was the one that's like, yeah, remember Adele was like, Yara, you could literally just be anywhere because you're so hot, and like some rich guy will just walk by and be like, that one. Okay, so that girl supposedly got wrapped up in like some either like drug ring where her boyfriend / guy was like picked up, and so was she. Like, she is not available, and I cannot believe the producers of the show didn't even like tell us why, because it's, you know, yummily, deliciously horrible. And I don't want that for her, but because she came on as this vapid, vile, like, you're so whatever, like, it's just kind of, it's so mildly hilarious. So it would have been great to really be able to like talk about it, but that's not what we get to talk about. Well,
yeah, I mean, Adele, to me, I only saw her on one episode, so I feel like it would be kind of crazy of them to kind of bust open her life like that on national TV and tell everybody that she got picked up. Every time I think about like these shows, like I think, oh, I shouldn't be on a reality show, because I just don't want anyone to bust open my life and have something that I forgot happened, or like am not proud of and it's still on the internet somewhere just pop up. Like, oh, hell no. Anyways, so I hate the conversation about Jovi thinking that somebody influences Yara like she's some vapid idiot. Then we have a conversation where Andre says that Jovi's ugly, and then everyone's like, that's not nice. That's not nice. And Andre's like, I'm just saying, you are better looking than this fuckface here with his teeth. And I said, wow, Andre, I mean, it's easy for Andre to call somebody ugly because like he's just not that. So we move on, and Ed decides that he wants his some more minute in the light, and he starts to like just go in on everybody. And then Jenny's like, Ed, you're not perfect. Like she just couldn't take it, and she like, and
wait. Please, I want you to actually see the words. Okay, so she's saying like, I can talk if I want to, Ed. You can't tell me what my turn is.
You're so perfect. What are you saying? You had your turn. My turn is whenever I want my turn.
Yeah. Ed is obviously a nightmare, and it's true. Like, we've been saying this, it's crazy for Ed to open his mouth against anyone because he is so horribly, monstrously ugly on the inside and outside, and treats everyone even worse than he looks. Like, that's like the worst. The part about Ed that makes him, that we get to talk about him, is how horrible he acts, because if he just looked that horrible, honey, we wouldn't be able to say shit, but we can say it because, and that, God bless. So yeah, it's actually funny that it takes Jenny to kind of be like, who are you? And I just kind of wished that there was someone to just really early on be like, look, Ed, and I mean, look at yourself, literally, Ed, don't say shit, because you can't back it up, literally, because you are so small. You wouldn't be able to back up anything. You can't. But also because your opinion doesn't mean anything. And Yara kind of says that, right? Yara's like, Ed comes at Yara too. And Yara's like, look at you. Like, why would I take your opinion over anything? It's just, you can just literally close your mouth, like you are wasting your breath, because it's one ear at the other. I won't take you seriously. Everything you possibly say about me, I'll take the opposite, because it's like, who are you to think anything's right? Every choice you've made from the inside and outside that I've ever seen seems to be just a laughably bad choice.
Yeah, and the producers won't allow that to be the narrative. They continue to amplify Ed's voice, and it's very frustrating. Yeah. And so then we have everybody clucking, and including Jenny, and everyone goes after Ed, and then that's the end of the tell-all, I guess. Like, then they're like, guys, it's over. So then we go to the
I was surprised, right? Like, can I ask one? Yeah, because we don't even care about the actual tell-all, because the tell-all is neither here nor there, and there's like everything happening on and off screen. When they actually, quote unquote, end the show, I was like surprised. Like, that's it? Oh, that's what an anticlimactic ending to what's supposed to be the tell-all. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, don't we miss the days of like Anfisa and George, and like Pedro and Chantel? Like, we just missed the days where it like made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not nice, talking about Jovi's face. It's just like so unfortunate. So then we have a moment where Jovi and Andre talk after the tell-all. I did not watch that. I like saw it happen and I walked away. And then Jenny, Yara, and Kim are in a conversation, and they're gonna all get in the car. But then Kim also says something really older, like an old thing to say. She's like, "I like your pocketbook," and I'm like, "Wow, pocketbook." you know?
Mhm,
God bless
mhm.
you. It's a handbag at this point in our lives. It's a purse also, but a pocketbook, it is no longer. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, my dad calls, and God bless, my dad calls, this is so old school. This is like Lassie. My dad calls the refrigerator
A
the
Frigidaire.
ice no, the ice box.
Aww.
The ice it's in the ice box.
The thing is though, he's not even that he's not that age. He's not that age. He's a refrigerator. He calls it an ice box because your sweet grandma called it an ice box. Oh,
Michael, do you want a drink? Get it from the ice box. You know,
oh
like
my god, that's so cute.
so my dad says ice box, and it's like so crazy. Like, you
You
mean
know what
the
I used
like stainless steel, French door, blah, 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 we're gonna pull out whatever. It's just LOL. But yeah,
You know
people
what I used to
with it.
say for a very long time, and it's because my mother used to say it? Ready teller. An ATM used to be called a ready teller. That was its first name. Like a teller, like at the bank, that's ready. So I called it a ready teller for a very long time.
Yeah, I've never heard Ready
Ask your
Teller.
dad if he's heard of it.
Okay.
Ask
Dad! No, I'm just kidding. I just kidding.
ask him if he's heard of ready teller. But anyways,
Okay.
that's what I called it too. So that's funny. So then they have the conversation in the car where Kim has a very good angle on her. I almost didn't recognize her. The angle of the camera in that vehicle where they're driving to the rooftop, it is the exact angle it needs to be on her at all times, which unfortunately is very high.
It was very like Paula Abdul, Promise of a New Day. Anyway.
So she's in there talking about swear to God, like, you know what I mean? Swear to God, you know what I mean? Like, this is, I mean, you know what I mean? I was thinking like, oh my God, it can't be over. Maybe he's gonna propose to me right now. We're like, Kim, girl, he's not gonna propose to you. So they
I
get to
couldn't believe that. She was like, yeah, like, I mean, when she said that, I was like, oh my God, that's something that if your best friend said that to you after like watching whatever, you'd slap her. I mean, like, I think like, well, I would slap your face, like just to wake you up, just to be like, I think that I have to slap my best friend right now because I need her to feel the physical sting and pain of how badly she would hurt if she continues down that road of thought.
I mean, and then she's like, Jenny, you really hurt my feelings by saying that Uthman doesn't love me. And Jenny's like, well, I didn't say that. I said that he loves you as a friend. I didn't say he didn't love you, period. I could have said it, but I didn't. And we're just like, okay, Jenny. So anyways, they get to the rooftop bar and Angela pulls up in a red cat suit. I mean, like she fully just like, and I couldn't be mad at it. The titties were hanging right. I mean, they were out and she had to have like nipple pads on them to not have them actually show. But she then makes a joke about moving to Florida to marry Chuck. And I was like, oh, hot take, Angela. Hot take.
I when she said that, I feel like she also should have like winked at the producers like this Michael thing doesn't work out, and I know that Family Day Libby always wanted to have a whatever it's called, a tangential show and
Spinoff,
and I kind of like me a little Andre.
Yeah. So sorry, I jumped back for just a bit. Now we're at the rooftop bar and Ed walks up and he gets a drink from the guy and the guy's like, my name is Valentino, and he's like, oh, are you Italian? And the guy's like, no, I'm Mexican. He's like, me too. And this is exactly, somebody tried to fight me. I don't know if it was you or in the comment section. Somebody tried to fight me when I said that Ed doesn't think of himself as being Mexican. Like he doesn't own it in a way. Like he thinks of him, he maneuvers through the world as though he's a white man. He says, I'm Mexican too, and then says, oye, como va, and tú estúpido. And I said, that I don't, did you see, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, this is, I mean, I think it's the same. He says hasta luego too, like he's not
keyed in to his culture. He in fact makes fun of it as though he's not fucking Mexican.
Yes.
Like his mother doesn't fully have an accent. Like,
yes.
And is Mexican. Like she's not even pretending to not be Mexican. She's fully living the Mexicana life. Like, so it's just really, I don't know I don't know if it wasn't you, but I was on a live or I was talking about it and somebody was like, well, he is Wa. And I'm like, no, he doesn't identify. And this was to me a very perfect example of someone who maybe he's coping. Maybe he didn't want to be associated with Mexicans because he's from San Diego growing up. And so he just decided to make fun of Mexican people. But that is exactly what he did to that man. And it was just so disgusting that even Yara was like, how fucking rude.
Yes. Absolutely. Like, even if he doesn't speak Spanish, and like I don't speak Arabic, so, and this happens a lot. Like, I'll meet someone, I'll be like, "Oh, you're Lebanese," and this, or Syrian, or whatever, Arab, and this person will be like, "Yes," and I don't speak Arabic, right? So, but if I say anything to them, it's not like, "Oh, well, la 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 la, habibi," It's not like I would be like, "Oh, well, shukran, ana taki Arabi shwai," and it's like I'm saying I speak a little bit of Arabic, and the way you can say I'm saying it, which is I'm connecting and not being like, oh, wahalas, I can't think, I'm trying to make fun of like the way I would say Arabic in such like a off kind of like almost like I'm making, like a white person not knowing how to speak Arabic and wanting to really like point that out with a bad accent to be like,
I mean, but then he said "U.S. stupid" as like what he's okay. I can't even go into it because you guys know what I'm talking about. But he's specifically making fun of the way certain like Chicanos may speak, and specifically women. Like that "estupid" is like is like a woman thing. I don't know. He's just a fucking animal asshole. So Bilal,
yes, he is.
Bilal feels like after the tell-all that he's like took a big poop and now his bowels are clear. Angela comes in, and then Jovi asks her about Michael, and she has again another conversation where we all think her yellowing bottom teeth are just going to fly out of her mouth, but it doesn't. Then Jovi wants to talk to Ed. They're wearing matching shirts, and then he's like, "I already talked about this in the car. I don't want to talk about it again." And Jovi's like, "You could get your ass beat." And I'm like, well, no one's going to actually fight Ed, which is why he says the things that he said. Because if Ed actually did get knocked upside the head as much as he should be, then he would shut his fucking chin lip up.
He needs it.
Yeah,
I don't want to call for violence. Listen, I'm not calling for violence. I'm not calling for violence. So it's like, whatever. I'm just saying that if Ed doesn't watch himself and he continues to be disrespectful to other people in such a way, there is a possibility that someone won't feel bad about punching down. Literally. Okay, so I want to also say, so when Liz comes in, Liz also is wearing another bad, cheap, horrible hooker dress. I mean, not in a bad, I mean, just a dress where it's like, girl, like, where are you going? Like, where do you think you're going? This dress isn't even classy. Like, it isn't even like a fun stripper dress, or like there's no fun to it. Look, it's like horribly cheap material. We end up finding out that Ed bought it for her, so that's why she's wearing it. I get it. It's like, I don't know.
I don't get it. Here's my thing. I don't understand. Like, here's the pink one, I hated it too. I don't think those dresses look right on her body. And I don't want to body shame, but I'm trying to figure out where the disconnect is for me. It doesn't give, and maybe because we're living in a world now where it's all about like shape. And so to put her in a tube dress and then have her to continue to look like a tube is really an interesting choice for me. They're too short.
They're and those dresses aren't for most people. Like, no matter, it's like, I think those dresses are just cheap. They make everyone look cheap.
Yeah, they're too short. I mean, the color, and I thought the sparkle of it was everything, but that spaghetti strap with the like straight across is not doing anyone any favors, especially not her. I just want her to buy a dress that's flattering for her body, as opposed to a dress that I think she thinks she should be wearing. Like, I feel like the dress is very much 2008. Like, she should be wearing like a thick, chunky, like platform heel, with just like, I'm not with a platform in the front and like a thin heel in the back, and be like running through Penn Station trying to get the last PATH train back to New Jersey.
Ooh,
hot take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we have a moment with, again, fucking Liz and Jenny and whatever, the two old ladies, the three old ladies on the couch talking about their dry vaginas. Chris,
this is the best scene. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you right now, every other part of this horrible tell-all pales in comparison to this scene. This is the best scene. And it involves Liz, who is like neither here nor there, and it is just gonna represent, like, if this is the View, she represents the youth character. Then
Mhm.
there's Jenny, who we've obviously had a little bit of her sex life, which we never really like got into. I wish that Sean Robinson had made Jenny and Sumit talk about their sex life and Karma Sutra and what they've talked about. Like, that was one of the funner parts of the season. We never talked about it because, again, the tell all now doesn't make any, isn't, the tell is neither here nor there. So, like, none of the questions that really would be asked on a normal tell all, to me, like, they're not asked
Yeah.
because it's not about that anymore. So yeah, but even so, it's okay. So I'm only saying that we had all of that backstory of like Jenny and Sumit's entire Kama Sutra, and none of it's talked about. So
Yeah.
anyway, so then Kimberly, obviously another sex themed woman, where we talked about her yammy all the time with Usman. Like, we talked about her sex life a lot. Angela brings up her sex life a lot too. So yes, one of the things, and I've talked about this, is that they made Angela, and I think it was a calculated effort to be palatable, more palatable to the audience. And the way that they did that is A, make her seem empathetic and sensitive that she is the victim of Michael's cheating and have
Mhm,
him even
mhm,
take
mhm, mhm.
responsibility and blame of it. And then also B, have her, I feel like, whether, and we can talk about this, whether you think that her relationship with Kimberly during this tell all is genuine or calculated in order to show the camaraderie between two women who are, as you all said, the ideal demographic of this, age-wise, of this show,
Franchise the show.
and B, like, their connection over the fact that they have like a somewhat similar storyline would be like would make them human. So
Yeah.
anyway, whether you think that connection between Kimberly and Angela is real or not, now these four ladies like bring in that energy. So they're talking about sex. So we will talk about what I just said also, but also the sex part's really, really fun. Basically, they're like, what's your sex life? What's your sex life? And that's why, of course, I liked it. I was like, this is the conversations I've been wanting to have. Like, what is your sex life, Jenny? They make her like talk about it. She's like, well, so it's very nice. He massages me or whatever, like, that was like a half Debbie, half Jenny. I mean, I'm so sorry, Jenny. That wasn't really you. That was
Oh,
half
that's
Debbie.
this is what you need to think. When you're gonna go to Jenny, you have to start off with the back of the soft palate, like create that arch. So like, and then there's like you have to like let this part of your mouth move. So it's like,
See, that sounds like a chicken. So yeah, I feel like my first thought of when I get into Jenny's voice is like, how would a chicken sound if a chicken was a lady? Like,
Mhm.
whoa,
There
like.
you go. Great. I
So
like it. I like it.
that's how I do it. But and so she's like, yeah, he's round turkey, whatever, and like,
Yes,
oh
yes,
yeah,
yes.
that seems right, and then Kimberly's like, yeah, I know, yeah, that Yami was good. He did this move. I did teach him some things, but this move called the power bike. And I was like, what the fuck is a power bike? And we could talk about what the power bike is. To me, it's like a motorcycle rail. And so this movement, or like, it feels like he bucked up against her and like, like he's like, like revving up a power bike.
Or it could be she's on top and he's on the bottom, and like they're either holding like his hands are up and they're holding hands. There's somewhere there's handlebars, so maybe she's like holding on the bed, on the headboard, and then he's like from below. But either way it goes, I am mad that they don't want to talk about their sex. Like, I want to know. Jenny and Smith are like, Jenny's like, oh, I'm getting home. We don't talk about, we have fine sex. I'm like, no, Jenny. Is it always him on top? Because you remember she didn't want to do other things. In fact, when she did get on top, she busted his navel or something. So like, I want to know, is it that every time he expects her to be on top? And is it because of her like age range and her demographic and just the kind of lady she is, that she's just like, ladies always lay on the bottom? Like, does she give him head? I want to know, because I'm like, how is your sex satisfying? And then we have Kimberly and Usman, and then Kimberly's like, I've had to show him some things, but then she wants to make it seem like he's naturally good. And I'm like, well, isn't he supposed to be a virgin because he's like Muslim or whatever? So like, how many women has, and then they both admit that like the men are just supposed to come in and get naked and like grunt on top of you. And Angela said, no, I had to stop that immediately and teach him some stuff about, what you need to do, because as much as we're older ladies, Liz is over here like a water fountain, but us, you have to like maneuver and play with us in order for our love come down, like to get it like wet. And so I'm just like, tell us more. Tell me more about all of this, because Debbie would have told us, don't you think?
Wait, I have so many fucking questions. A, it sounded like you said age rage, which was so funny to me. B, is love come down about that?
Oh yeah, love coming down is ooh, you make my love come down, make it go all the way down.
Oh my
God.
God.
You make my love. It's like making either you come, obviously. Yeah. Change your whole world.
God, I didn't know it until like that's why I'm like is washing over me. Also, of course, but Usman had dry effed baby girl Lisa, so like he wasn't a virgin. He knew about that.
Oh yeah, he knew about it, but I didn't.
He knew about that dry vag life, honey. He's been doing that. That power bike Kimberly likes, like he got that bike from baby girl Lisa.
It's like this. He's laying on his back. His hands are up, like holding her boobies while he's like, and if you guys wanted to see the visuals of what you're just hearing right now, you could do so on patreon.com/doggysweeties.
Okay, I don't think that she's on top. Okay, I don't think that she's on top.
Okay,
so I think that she's in the back. So, okay, so I think
jackrabbiting. Then they're jackrabbiting.
No, I don't call it. Okay, listen. I think that she's on the.
Okay, guys. If you were on Patreon, you'd be able to see that Chris is now laying on her back with her legs up.
Put her legs up a little bit then he would grab the legs and then he'd be the rider, right? And he could like maneuver around the track, and her legs are the handlebars.
Oh, so her legs are at a 90-degree angle while he's in between them, and his hands are like holding onto her knees. And it can't, his hands are holding onto her knees, and then her head is just hitting up against the headboard. Okay.
Ow.
Great.
What do I do for that $10 a month? So basically, that's the best scene in the entire tell-all. That's really, really fun. And you're just like, oh my God, yes. And like, who else? In my mind, I'm like, oh, let's have him. He's like, no one actually, first of all, one other thing I want to say is, no, Liz is not a waterfall, not a Niagara Fall. Do you know who Liz is having sex with Ed?
She also tried to say something really quick about him, and I didn't rewind it, but she was like, no, I had to I still am teaching him. He doesn't even know how to kiss. That's what she said. I don't want to think about them having sex. I don't want to think about how he finds his penis in order to pee because his belly is in the way. I don't want to think about any of these things.
There's no such thing.
I don't want to think about it, but I am.
Yara says something like, like it's like a man who has a small dick and tries to buy like a fast car. Like Yara having Ed's number and having Angela like not her subtle digs at Angela. Yara is thankfully, the voice of reason. She's the voice of reason.
Mm-hmm. I love that Kim though says, take it from an old wise woman. And I was like, Kim, you are not wise. And then she says something stupid after that. She says, while you're looking good and feeling snatched, go break up with him and like throw your wine on him and flip him off. That's what I would do. And I'm like, wise? Old, but wise?
The Kimberly school of throwing a drink. What is it, girl, about you and drinks? Now, having said that, when she did say that, it did cut to Ed, and he is, wearing a white shirt and holding like a glass of red wine. And then I was like, well, that'd be a great Jackson Pollock painting if I could just, but yeah, that's the problem. So let me say this. When you do improv, there's like this thing where it's like, if you introduce the concept of a gun, you have to fire the gun. This is like a theater, because then there's like a weird, it's like there's something that that never gets paid off.
Yeah.
When they said this, I was like, well, that white linen shirt better be, covered in that Malbec in like 2 seconds. And
it wasn't.
It wasn't. So what a horrible, what a non-payoff.
Yeah.
Basically, at that point, Ed then comes into where, okay, so let me get this. So then Liz is like, okay, let me go get another drink. So she parades her like dress that Ed bought her in front of the bar. And then Ed sees her and then she walks back to where the ladies are. And then Ed like is drunk with the glass, comes back in and is like, hey, you want to talk? She's like, it'd be very rude. I'm in the middle of a conversation. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to go now. I have to go back to Boston. She's like, peace. And then everyone's like, why would you be on his time? And his whole thing is like, yeah, I'm going to Boston. We're supposed to go back together, but I have to go to a
To a
speaking
speaking
engagement.
engagement.
And we
Let's say it
all were
together,
like,
Chris. 1, 2, 3. Speaking
speaking
engagement.
engagement.
Why? Who is asking this man to speak? I want to know the institution so that I can immediately write them off as garbage.
Okay, we
I
hated
mean,
it. Okay, we hated it.
it was so stupid. And then he's like, well, she doesn't want to talk, so I'm gonna go. And she's like, I can still hear you. I thought you were leaving. Then he goes back to his room and packs his bags and says that he's gonna give the engagement ring to his daughter, and that he really tried with Liz, but this is the last straw. He doesn't want her to go to Boston because he doesn't want to argue with her. So then he tells producers to get her own plane ticket home. She reads this in front of the girls, and I don't know, but she starts to cry. I don't know, girl, just something. And then after that, we have a moment where Angela goes to Valentino, the bartender, and asks if he's married. He says, how'd you guess? And I'm like, he's doing the Lord's work. They said we needed a bartender who is able to go back and forth and banter in case the cast tries to go at him. And then Angela's like, oh, well, do you have a brother? And he's like, no. And Angela's like, well, I think I'm about to get divorced. And I think, I want to have really wild sex with somebody new because I've only been having sex with the same dick for 5 years. And then we're just like, oh, Jesus. So we find out that Liz has just gotten a license plate that says Big Ed's girl. And we're just like, oh, you deserve everything that comes your way.
Yep.
You deserve everything that comes your way, that you got a license plate that looks like this. And she's like, I just think I'm going to go home and work my butt off. And, I want to be a good example for my daughter. Too late, bitch. Too fucking late. Some people have now watched you for 2 seasons be treated poorly and act a fool on TV. You are already not a good example for your daughter. And that's unfortunate. So Kim's talking about flying to Nigeria for sex. And that's really the last that I watch. I don't know what else happens.
I didn't know that. I didn't remember that Liz had a daughter because I don't watch that. So I was like, oh,
yeah,
no. Those dress, every part of it. No, those dress, no, I don't like it. No, I don't like it at all. But I wonder what Sean does after this. Like,
what's her day job?
Yeah, I mean, is it just these tell-alls?
It can't be,
right? She's got to have, she's got to have something else. I really feel like with Angela, because there's another scene that happens, right? So I had hinted at it, but just to make sure, there's a scene between Angela and Kimberly that happens.
Because they go to smoke, and then they don't acknowledge that Kim is smoking, even though we can hear it in her voice. But Angela is the one with the Virginia Slim out.
Mm-hmm. And it's very much like Angela trying to be like, nah, I don't want to offend you because we're friends and I really like you, but how do I say this? But Usman lies, and I know I could be wrong. It's just my idea, my thoughts, and just put it out there, And Kimberly is like, I know, but also, it's just like it's. Now I'm going to tell you this. I did not like this scene. Like this, I didn't not like this scene. If the producers set this up, then they have my number because it felt real. And obviously I know these women in the sense, not personally, but we know their stories and they are somewhat similar. They obviously have similar themes. And to watch these two women who might have thought that they were going to come to blows, like have connections, I made me happy because I am someone that likes, when people connect and like when everything is not so divisive. So like, obviously I understand that Angela's a nightmare and Kimberly is weird and no saint, but like, just as a human watching the show and like knowing characters, it made me happy to have these two women kind of find a camaraderie within each other.
You know what? That's really sweet of you. You're like, I don't like when things are not derisive. And I'm like, not that I listen, I maybe I don't enjoy a full kumbaya moment. I am somebody who gets anxious when I feel like people aren't being honest with what their intentions are. And so I can't. Because I know that Angela threatened Kim time and time again, and that Kim, in turn, threatened something that I know she would never follow through on to Angela time and time again. This conversation of them together feels very fake girl whatever, and that doesn't provide me comfort. I like the fact that Kim was like, who knew that we would be in this space, and Angela's like, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I said I was gonna beat your ass, and blah, blah, blah. And I said that is what I need, is for Kim to then just be honest and say, yeah, I was calling you the queen and telling everybody to ignore you because you thought you were all that. I want it to fully be truthful before they can have this kumbaya moment between two contemporaries and two peers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where it is. So I think that you're very lovely in the fact that you're just like, listen, let's just water under the bridge and keep it moving. We don't have to talk about all the awkward. We don't have to like go into it. Like if we just make the decision to move forward as friends, then let's do that. Like that's really sweet of you. I like a little bit more chaos, I think, in my life. Also, the room was unacceptable. The clutter.
Whose room was that? Is that Angela's?
I don't know whose room it was. It was just so cluttered. It's New York City, so it's the dirtiest city in the world, and they're just sitting in there with clothes on the bed. I mean, Shida sat on the bed in clothes too, and I was upset. Mm-hmm. But at least their room was clean. Like, you guys don't understand how dirty New York City is. And for anyone to like walk in with their outside shoes just on the carpet in their hotel, take over.
No, she can't. I have a hiccup. She can't do it. So we both had our bodies turned against us. Yeah. Shai and Bilal go back to their room, and like there's like flowers or something, like, right? There's petals
and chocolates and shit. Like,
I don't know. It's like the worst. They really, yeah. So they want us to be sympathetic to Angela, and then the end of this tell-all really is like Bilal and Shai, the perfect coops. He's going to learn to start sharing that money, and he's going to put a baby in it. Now he wants to put a baby in it, and she's doing yoga, and so now like on Instagram and stuff. Fast forward, people think that maybe she's already pregnant because she has some pictures of her doing yoga with like a very loosey, blousey. So they're like, we're going to make a baby tonight. There could be babies now. So like it felt like wanting to set up something for us, whatever that's going to be. So that kind of did happen. I mean, yeah, like they have a great night, Yara and Jovi talk. Jovi expresses to Yara that he was upset because she didn't apologize for laughing when her friends were like, so yeah, when they replayed the scene, when her friends are like, Jovi knows that like you're so much better than him, like you're so much hotter than him, and
you're out of his league. Yeah, you're out of his league. And she still didn't know what the word league. She kept saying leak. I don't know what out of league means.
So yeah, he's like, yeah, you didn't say you're sorry for like laughing and not like having my back. So she contends that she did say sorry and that he's dumb for like whatever. Like, what do you want from me, Yovi? Whatever. I don't know why I said Yovi. It's Jovi. That's like the scene that happens. Basically, it's interesting. It's like, there's nothing for Jenny Sumit to do, right? Like Jenny just kind of is around there clucking around. Like they're not going to have her have like a Jenny Sumit FaceTime that is any sort of drama, because there's nothing to be said. Same thing with Andre and Libby. Like Andre has nothing to do but kind of walk around and judge people because Libby is, about to make a baby for them back at home. He can't just like start, anything on a FaceTime. So it's weird a little bit for them.
Yeah, it is. The last scene I see is Angela in a cab in a black Suburban saying that she is going to definitely file for divorce, but she may not sign. And I'm like, oh my God, are they really trying to give her her own show? Because like we already
Mhm.
have, well, I don't know if the family Chantel is going to come back.
Mhm.
But
Mm.
so right now, I think what the only thing we have is David and Annie and Darcy and Stacy as a possible spinoff. So there is one more. There's a space open for for another family spinoff, and so I'm just like, if I don't want it to be Angela, but like if it is, don't we have to watch it?
You've made this case before, and you're a good lawyer. So listen.
If it's Libby and Andre, I won't be able to. I like.
How much Andre do I get?
Yeah, and what kind of Andre? Shirtless Andre? Andre
Yeah.
working out? Andre
How
in the
much
shower.
Megan? Yeah, and how much Megan do I have to have? It's like a the more Andre and the less Megan, I'm happy about it.
Yeah, and then Manny and David, I am not watching, but I know David's a monk now, which is great. And then Darcy and Stacy happen on Monday or Tuesday coming up. Happen tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
People love it. The
How'd you like
reality
MILF
gays love
Manor?
it.
How'd you like MILF Manor?
Oh, it's cringe. It is the cringiest show to ever grace our. It's on Sunday at 10 p.m. for a reason. They didn't know if it was going to work, and I still don't know if it's going to work. It is cringe. I'm going to watch the second episode today and see if it gets any better. But like, you think it's one thing, and the spin is gross.
There's a secret or hook
Yeah,
I don't want to. Oh,
it's
don't
it
tell.
doesn't feel fun. And then so that's why I'm saying like I have it, like maybe they did this in the first episode to upset us all and like cause commotion to get us all talking about it, and then perhaps it's going to get better. But let me tell you is that if there's a season 2, they can't do the same thing because it's already been let out of the box. It is
Okay. Oh, I kind of do love it. It's like that's kind of like Too Hot to Handle. Like, but then Too Hot to Handle had 3 other seasons. Too Hot to Handle. I
what
mean,
is that?
I don't want to give away what, because I don't know what MILF Manor is, but Too Hot to Handle, right? Like, had a bunch of hot people being like, you're going to be on like a hot person tropical dating show. And then they get there and they're like, then they're like, okay. And the thing is, you can't touch. And they're like, what? And they can't fuck or whatever.
Yeah, that's what happened in not Too Hot to Handle, but there's a Netflix version of it too. It's not Too Hot to Handle. It is there's a Netflix version of the same thing where these things aren't even real. Like, I mean, I know that like that, Married at First Sight is not real. They hold like castings for it. Like they end up reaching out to people who they know are single through the like reality show circuit, but there's just like a circuit of characters that they have like cycled through. And I feel like MILF Manor is at least one of them. She's auditioned for very many reality show in the past. So like, yeah, these love reality shows, especially with these young people, is them thinking that they're going to be on some kind of matchmaking show, but just not knowing what the criteria is. So it could either be one about your astrology sign. There's an astrology one that's on Netflix. Then there is all of the beach ones, that are on all the various shows. So
Yeah.
MILF Manor is similar in the fact that we see one woman first, and then when we see the second woman come out, the first woman is like, oh, I thought I was going to see men. I didn't know I would see other women. And I'm like, oh, did you think that you were going to be the contestant on a show and just be surrounded by men, young men, that you were going to no. Okay, so that's one thing. And then the next thing is that she's like immediately like, oh, well, I'm prettier than her. And I'm like, baby girl, you are 65 years old. Like, why oh, you're of that generation where women fought each other for men, so you're already sizing up the competition in a way that, as my young millennial brain goes, ugh, no, women don't fight over men anymore, at least not in public.
Oh, gotta pick me. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Maybe I will dabble.
you, you need to watch it when you are literally on your way to sleep or something. Like, not, I know not you, but like you need to watch it when, because you're gonna get up and you're gonna walk away, and you might not come back.
Oh, I'm gonna hate it. You don't think I'm gonna like it?
I just don't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I honestly, you and I have never been put in this position before, and so I don't know what you would think about it.
Wow, I'm fascinated. Okay, my loves. Well, a lot on the docket. However, we
Just
are
watch the
so
first
happy.
20 minutes. Watch the first 20 minutes, Chris. Just put it on.
Oh yeah.
And just like let it play, and then like watch. And then if you don't want to watch it after 20 minutes, I see. I understand.
Boy, bye. MILF, bye. Okay, my loves. Well, we are happy to have given you 5 months of our lives following this 90-Day Fiancé season. We can't believe it. But and I mean, do we have a little break? No, because Toe is right behind. Toe and HEA toes. So it's like literally right behind HEA, honey. Toe is the next train. So we will be there for it, choo. And if you want to follow us on social media, please do. You're welcome to follow us on Instagram at DocuSweeties, or TikTok at DocuSweeties, or Twitter at DocuSweeties1, and like all of our stuff and give us 5 stars. And if you want to see what it looked like when we tried to give you what we thought the power bike sexual position looked like, you can. Wow, how do they do it?
Patreon.com/DocuSweeties, where you could see the visuals of everything that you're hearing, all the grunting and all the clucking that you weren't able to, see and maybe visualize because you don't know what we look like. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. You would go to patreon.com/DocuSweeties. It's $10 a month. Support your girls. You get exclusive content. Right now, we've got 3 docu-series that are up there that are not on our free feed, and they're really good. Killer Sally is fucking great. And they're gonna go up, one of these days. So we thank you so much for all of your support. Don't forget to give us 5 stars, and we will see you next week for Toe. And if you want to listen to something else from us, go back and listen to Love After Lockup, because that's already up as well. So we'll see you next week, you guys. Have a fantastic week, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.